everyone. I got an offer from Northridge Publishing this month to get a free add-on with purchase of Studio Calico main kit, so I decided to take advantage of that and give the whole kit thing a whirl. And my first attempt to scrap completely from a kit, just using the kit contents, didn't go as well as I hoped, but I do manage to make a layout that I'm happy with by the end. So this is the 34th Street kit, and I have the Penn Station add-on, which is the one that I got for free, and then they also added the Herald Square add-on as initial thank you for Northridge Publishing customers. And basically what I've been doing is I've just been pulling the papers that I think might work for this layout, and pretty much when I had the honeycomb and the stripe, from that point on, nothing went right. So I actually stopped scrapbooking for that day, and I waited a few days. And then I came back and gave it another look and decided to go in a completely different direction. So what I'm doing now is I'm marking a 1/4 inch in on two sides of the back of this piece of paper. And then I traced the photograph I had so that I could make basically a Polaroid type frame with this chevron paper. And then I cut out the center, and of course what I forgot to do is I forgot to bring the sides in a little bit so that I would have overlap between the photo and the frame and I could glue it down. So I asked myself, well, what if I just tape it in the back? Can I live with it? Will that bug me? And of course it does, so I have to redo the whole thing. But luckily I have a template now, so I was able to get that done. I just needed to bring in each side 1/8 of an inch. And what I'm doing is I'm punching the corner of a scrap piece of paper with my corner chomper and using it to trace corners on the inside of the frame, and then cutting that out with my craft knife so that the inside of the frame will have slightly rounded corners, because the Polaroid, the inside of the frame has slightly rounded corners, but the outside is straight, I think. I don't know. I never owned a Polaroid camera, so. But we'll see. So now I'm just erasing the lines because I forgot to draw them on the back. But they came right off. So now I just have to trim the edges down. So I'm going to mark with my ruler where I need to trim. And then I'm going to cut with a metal ruler. I don't like to cut against plastic rulers because I've nicked them in the past, and then you can't make straight lines ever again. So also, the reason I'm not using my paper trimmer is because I put all the kit stuff on top of my paper trimmer, so I didn't feel like moving it because I was doing this kind of late at night. So now I'm just taking 1/8 inch miracle tape, which is the same as score tape pretty much, and I'm putting it around the inside edges, and then I'm adding the photo. This is the first Instagram photo I have ever taken, and the layout is about all sorts of things, that being one of them. So now I'm gonna use this blue grid paper as my background instead of the honeycomb, and to the Polaroid I'm going to add a piece of tissue tape that I made myself with distress stain and one of my stamps and a white ink, and I love how it turned out. I actually have never purchased any washi tape or paper tape or anything like that because I can be kind of a collector, so I decided to stay away from it. But I made a few to see if I would even like it. And so this is another one that I made. So I've just been playing around with them, and I'll put a link in the video description of the Ustream where I made these tapes. So if you're interested in seeing how to do it, there is a tutorial. Okay, so now I've got that all sort of set up a little vignette, I'm going to sprinkle some white ink on the background, and then I'm going to cut a mat from this paper from the collection, from the kit. And I made sure to cut it so that every corner was a gray box. I don't know if that actually made a difference or not, but I did it anyway. So, and now I'm going to cut this pink Amy Tangerine, I think, paper. And you see there's a tab on there, and I skipped showing that to you because it's going away soon. So, adding more of my homemade tissue tape, and there's another strip of it, that little ruler. Okay, so I'm starting to put things down. I'm just pointing. The reason I'm pointing to the background is to show you that I'm lining everything up with the lines on the grid. And now I adhered this slightly off the page so I could just cut it off with my scissors. I'm inking everything with pumice stone, which is the browner of the two Distress ink grays. And now I'm using my McGill file folder punch. This is a heavy punch that's hard to get it to punch, but I love that you get an actual folded file folder tab instead of just a half a one. And so I put adhesive on it, and then I inked it up with the pumice stone on the side that would show, and I've attached it to the photo. The reason I didn't like the other tab was because in the upper right corner there was a red and white die cut. Stapled to the photo was a red and white die cut, and then that was red and cream, and it just wasn't working for me. So now I'm taking one of these Pebbles sort of faux Dymo label stickers and just stapled it to the tab there. And then I end up regretting that because now I've introduced a really dark black into the page, and I'm going to have to find some other places to put some dark black. But in the meantime, I'm going to take this die cut from the kit, and I didn't like it in its boxy shape, so what I did is I cut the he said part off the bottom and then cut out the speech bubble with a little border around it, and now I'm going to adhere it like that. I've just taken, there was a card in the kit reminding me that I could get a publishing credit if I got a layout published with a Studio Calico kit, and the back of it had this cute yellow pattern on it, so I just cut it in half so I could use the back. And then I cut out me messing around with that yellow striped border, and I ended up damaging one of the corners of my matting papers and to where it would not lay flat anymore, so I decided to just live with it and curl up all of the edges and put foam tape under them. And now I'm using this basic gray alphabet from the kit to write out my title, which is almost life-sized. I love this alphabet. It's a great size. Since I mostly have thickers, it's a little bit smaller than that, so it's nice to have an additional size. And then also I love the gray with the crosshatch pattern. So what I basically just did is I just glued them down, since I don't trust any adhesive chipboards adhesive. I always add my own glue, and that's a Cosmo Cricket fabric brad, and this is a sticker from the October Afternoon Midway collection, and I'm just going to use it to fill in that gap. And that camera sticker that I tried to use earlier but couldn't make work is now back, and I'm just going to ink the edges with the pumice stone and stick it there, and I love it there. And now I'm adding a little heart epoxy sticker from Heidi Grace to the brad, so it's now kind of love you. And I also added a little enamel dot that's shiny black with a heart on it to the center of the camera to cover its lens. And this is where I'm going to start bringing black back. So here are some wood veneer cameras, and I wanted them to be the same blue-green as the background paper. So I mixed tumbled glass and peacock stain, distress stains together. More tumbled glass than peacock feathers. And that gave me a very close. So I inked them up with that and set it aside to dry. And now I'm taking a piece of jute string and I twisted the end through some liquid adhesive on my finger, and that makes it hard and stiff like a needle. So you can sew with the string without an actual needle. So I'm just tying a bow through the heart. And that was too big. I don't want it to be like a super bow because this is mostly about a guy. So it doesn't need a super bow. So now I've added another of those little enamel dots to the camera in the top corner. And then I added a black and white brad to the camera in the bottom left corner. And now I'm using the pumice stone distress marker to do my journaling. And I want my journaling to act like another layer or another mat. So I've marked off the area where it needs to be with painter's tape. And I'm filling it in. And I just wanted to mention, it kind of fits the space pretty perfectly. I don't necessarily plan that out. The trick that I use to getting that done is as I'm writing, I'm thinking about other words I could be using. So, if I have a big space, I'll use "it was exciting." And if I have a small space, I'll use "it was fun." Does that make sense? Anyway, so here's the finished layout, and right after this, there will be still photos as well. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy holidays.